Hello, and thank you for listening to Citizen Speak. I'm your host, Garrett Martin. Thank you so much for listening today. Let's talk about the state of our media. Let's talk about CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, just for the start of it, and then we'll expand from there. What's happened? I mean, it's been a slow, ugly decline that we've seen for years. Just today you have MSNBC and CNN. They go into the apartment of the San Bernardino attackers. They were let in by the landlord, but they didn't have any right to go in there. The police and the FBI hadn't cleared it yet. They hadn't said, all right, we got everything out of there that we needed. We're done with it. Go for it. It's been 3 days. And MSNBC and CNN, they go, oh, no, it's fine. We're going to go in there. We got permission from the landlord. He owns a property. No worries. And, they're going through and they're picking up just about everything that's in the apartment. They're showing it on live TV. They're taking pictures of it, touching everything. They're even going through the kids' toys. I mean, what happened? They should have known better. It doesn't matter if the landlord says that you can go in there or not. The FBI is still investigating this. They're still looking for answers and clues to go on. You go in there and you ruin it. You have the landlord who goes up to the door and he unscrews it and pries the plywood off. And then the media, they just pour in there. And it's just a gosh dang shame. Go watch the videos of it, and you'll be disgusted as well. But they're not alone as far as the slow, slippery slide of the ignorance and the sleaziness of our media. I mean, for example, you got Fox News, who consistently race baits, and they call for hatred of all the minorities. I mean, you have Bill O'Reilly. Anytime that there's something political going on or a major event that happens with a cop killing an African American or maybe the Planned Parenthood shooting or something like that, and he comes on and he says, oh, well, no, the Christians aren't the problem. It's the Muslims. Look at this crime that happened over here. They're the problem. I'm only going to give you anecdotal evidence, but I'm not going to actually give you any stats or statistics that are actually true because PolitiFact's going to come out later and prove me wrong anyway, so what's the problem? Or like when you have the poor kid, Laquan McDonald in Chicago who got gunned down last year by the police after they were only on scene for 10 seconds before they shot him. And it took a whole year for the dash cam video to come out only because a Freedom of Information Act was put in. And they had to give it up. That's the only reason why it came out. And then that day after it came out, Bill O'Reilly came on a show and he said, oh, well, the cops and Caucasians, they're not the problem here in America. I mean, look over here on the other side of the country. You have these guys who broke into this poor pregnant woman's house who was the daughter or the wife of a pastor, and they shot her in cold blood. I mean, I'm not saying that the African Americans in this country are bad or criminals, but we have some, so the cops have to take a lot of precaution. This happens consistently on Fox News, and even you have, for a less extreme example, even today you have Marco Rubio on Fox and Friends. And a story had just come out about Marco Rubio where he had influenced the climate in Florida to be better for his businesses outside of politics for him to make more money. And he got into politics because he saw how much money that there could be made, a report had said. And that's also one of the reasons why he ran for Congress as well, is to help bolster his businesses and things that draw him money in, so that way he could have an easier life. He could make a bit more money. He could scrape off a little bit more cream. Fox and Friends didn't even mention this. They didn't ask him, what's going on here? Is there any truth to this? What's your take on this story? None of that. Absolutely none of that. But then you have a Morning Joe this morning. They are mocking Ben Carson's pronunciation of Hamas. It sounds a bit like hummus. And I get it, it's kind of a funny little ha-ha moment. But even the host this morning, she just looked disgusted. Absolutely disgusted that she has to sit there and listen to this malarkey going on. It's a word. It's a little word. And I get it. It's important that he knows how to pronounce certain names and certain factions or certain countries or certain leaders of those countries. I get that. It's very important. It's such a tiny little thing. Let it go. Let it go. Where's our media gone? You have the Daily News, and they've isolated theirself with their headline this morning saying that God's not fixing this, as referring to the political candidates who every time that a national tragedy hits, they're saying, we're praying for the victims. And I get it, their attack on candidates and people who only say that they're praying for the victims when it's not prayers that are fixing things. It's people who are out there taking action, people who are out there getting signatures on ballot initiatives or who are protesting. Those are the things that are helping fix the nation. Not putting a simple little tweet out saying, I'm praying for these victims. You pray for yourself. You pray to help yourself get over whatever's going on in your life that you can't get over. And then you get out there and then you take real action. But is it right for the Daily News to put this out there saying that God's not fixing this? I don't think so. I think that a lot of people are saying it, and a lot of people are thinking it, but I don't know if a media outlet absolutely needs to say that. I think it's damaging and isolating to themselves. I really do, and I think that it's just kind of a cheap little shot to take. But really, where have our journalists gone? Where's the integrity that we used to see? Where's the fire and the passion? Where's that gone to? Why don't we have people like David Frost, who sat down and interviewed Nixon? And before the interview, he was told that he's not allowed to ask certain questions. And he says, I'll think about it. And then during the interview, when he has Nixon on the spot, he throws out those questions. Why don't we have the media doing this? Because those are just gotcha questions. Not when we need truth, it's not. Those are absolutely not gotcha questions. Gotcha questions are something like, what's your favorite verse in the Bible? And exactly what verse is it? Not just what chapter, but what verse. I need the specifics, and I need to say it verbatim. That would be a gotcha question. Or maybe like, I hear that you like salmon, but you hate GMOs, yet you ordered this salmon last night. That's a gotcha situation right there. When we have just frivolous things to attack people on, those are gotcha moments. But when you ask real questions that we need real answers to, those aren't gotcha moments. And we need the media to stop being afraid to go out there and ask those questions again. And I get it. I get why they don't. It's because the stations that they work for are owned by corporations and the very rich. That's why they speak their agenda. That's why they're not out there actually doing things for the people and giving us answers that we need. Journalists are supposed to be the watchdogs. Our media is supposed to be out there getting answers for the common people so that we make better informed decisions. But when you do have journalists who go out there and say their opinion on something, or they go out and they attack a little bit too hard, you get people who get fired. Like Octavian Nassar, or Brian Pedersen, or Galvin Miller, or Justine Sacco. These people are out there and they had did their job well, and they had posted a tweet on something, and it didn't agree fully with the corporate cog machines, and they got fired. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. I understand that, they represent a company, but people in the media are so afraid to actually go out there and ask the tough questions on things that go against what their corporation overlords want them to say. They're too afraid to go out there and get the real answers. That's why you have people turning more and more to opinionated journalism, or listening to these smaller podcast shows. You have people turning away from the traditional media because the traditional media is too afraid to go out there and call a spade, or to go out there and to call out lies. That's the state of our media now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you're not upset about that, and you're still watching those media outlets, you're part of the problem. If you're not out there trying to bolster up young, new, up-and-coming media outlets or independent media outlets, like let's say even the Young Turks, for example, when something happens, they're not afraid to call it what it is. And that's what we need more of. We need people to stop being so afraid of being politically incorrect. If something's wrong, say it's wrong. If there's questions out there that people need answers to, you ask those questions. You dig deep. That's the job of the media. And they're not doing a single thing. Just sitting back, collecting paychecks, hoping that you tune in every night, boys and girls. Well, I'm done with it. I'm done with tuning in the national media. I listen to them on Twitter, and I'll go to their websites from time to time just to look at the news stories and collect facts from different stories and sources. But as far as following anybody, I don't. Not anymore. It's just absolutely ridiculous that we don't have any real journalists out there. We don't have anybody who actually tells the truth anymore. Or who wants us to hear the truth. What do you guys think? Do you think that I'm wrong on this? Do you think that, everything's fine in the media land? Or do you think that there's some truth to this? Let me know in the comments on Twitter or any of the other outlets that I have, either YouTube or Spreaker or SoundCloud. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great rest of the night.